That is also accurate and weirdly high praise as well. It was just one of those. It felt like a live-action Pixar movie. It was something that. I wanted to do something where nobody was being stabbed in the face.
Yes.
There was almost no blood at all. I think I got a little paper cut on the movie. That was about it. And something that my kids can watch, but also, as a parent, too, you want the parents need to get punched right in the heart.
Ryan Reynolds wasn't always the Hollywood heavyweight we see today. Early on, he was known mostly for light-hearted roles and rom-com charm, quietly carving out a career without stirring up major scandal. Then came Deadpool, the surprise R-rated superhero smash that didn't just boost Ryan's star power, it redefined it. But now, in a shocking turn of events, rumors are swirling that the same franchise he elevated might be turning against him. And in the center of this firestorm sits a series of alleged power moves, leaked texts, and a Marvel lawsuit that no one saw coming. We've heard rumors of stars clashing with studios before. We've witnessed big-time actors stepping on the toes of directors or screenwriters, testing how far their influence stretches. But the situation allegedly unfolding between Ryan Reynolds, Marvel, and director Justin Baldoni, alongside Blake Lively's reported behind-the-scenes efforts, seems to push those old stories to a new extreme. Is Ryan truly sabotaging one of Hollywood's biggest brands for personal gain? Is Blake orchestrating media narratives in ways the public never suspected? And most importantly, what does Marvel's dramatic response mean for the future of the Deadpool franchise and Ryan's entire career? Over the next few minutes, we'll peel back the layers of rumors, insider whispers, and surprising discoveries. We'll uncover how a series of text messages, subtle jabs in a script, and an actress's discontent on a separate project might have set off a chain reaction that no one can stop. By the end, you'll understand why this story has everyone talking and why the consequences for everyone involved, Ryan Reynolds, Blake Lively, Justin Baldoni, and the mighty Marvel machine, could be game-changing. Buckle up, because Hollywood just got a whole lot messier. For as long as the Marvel Cinematic Universe has been raking in billions, it's remained a well-oiled machine. Actors typically sign multi-picture contracts, deliver their best hero or villain performances, and leave the big decisions to producers and Marvel's creative team. Very few get real control in this juggernaut. Robert Downey Jr. had some sway as Tony Stark, but even he didn't single-handedly shape his film's comedic beats or script outlines. That sort of influence just doesn't happen often, unless your name is Ryan Reynolds, and your ticket into the MCU is as the wisecracking, fourth-wall-breaking Deadpool. Deadpool wasn't just another Marvel movie. It was almost like an outsider project, slotted in with a wink, allowed to keep its R-rated edge. Ryan was famously the driving force. He stumped for the film.
Aspire to be like a Hollywood actor and actress. In most circumstances, you're dealing with someone who probably has some narcissistic tendencies. I'm not saying everyone, okay? But the majority. This is why we have these stereotypes about Hollywood, right? They're not people that treat people well. They're all just trying to climb to the top, and they'll do anything.
Financed test footage and leaked that footage online to spark fan demand, an unorthodox move that somehow worked like magic. When the first Deadpool hit theaters in 2016, it delivered a fresh comedic edge that fans craved. And thanks to that success, Ryan quickly became the star with a unique seat at Marvel's table. Reports indicated he had direct input on everything from the comedic timing in the trailer to which characters would get cameo appearances. For a while, all seemed well. Deadpool 2 soared at the box office, critics lauded Ryan's performance, and Marvel recognized his brand of humor could appeal to audiences fatigued by traditional superhero formulas. However, as Marvel prepared to integrate Deadpool more formally into the MCU, insiders whispered that some executives found Ryan's methods chaotic. He was rumored to show up in writers' rooms unannounced, veto jokes he didn't find funny, and campaign for bigger cameo budgets to match his comedic vision. Now, being passionate isn't a bad thing in Hollywood. It's often a sign of an actor's dedication to their role. But some folks behind closed doors questioned whether Ryan had grown too big for the collaborative approach that studios prefer. That tension, apparently, was already simmering when external drama, linked to Ryan's personal life, began bleeding into Marvel's domain. Suddenly, it wasn't just about whether Ryan had a right to shape Deadpool's tone. It was about whether his behind-the-scenes maneuvering threatened Marvel's long-standing practice of keeping personal disputes out of its movie storylines. Before the Marvel drama took center stage, Blake Lively's involvement in It Ends With Us was making headlines. Adapted from Colleen Hoover's massively popular novel, the project looked like a surefire hit. Justin Baldoni, known for directing films like 5 Feet Apart and for playing the earnest, heartfelt Raphael on Jane the Virgin, was set to both direct and star. Fans of the novel were excited. Blake Lively was widely seen as a perfect fit for the female lead. Yet, in typical Hollywood fashion, rumors started trickling out that tension was brewing on set. Blake, known for her meticulous approach to fashion, acting, and overall branding, was apparently clashing with Baldoni's creative decisions. He had staked out control not only as a director but also as a co-writer, capturing the essence of a story that deals with deep emotional themes. Ordinarily, an actor might offer suggestions here and there, but let the director make the final call. However, some alleged that Blake felt overshadowed by Baldoni's on-screen presence and directorial authority. Initially, the talk centered on minor issues. Blake wanted certain script pages rewritten to highlight her character's emotional complexities, while Baldoni was determined to preserve the novel's original arcs. Then, as filming approached, the disagreements escalated. People close to the production hinted that Blake had bigger demands, reworks of character backstory, changes to pivotal scenes, and possibly even adjustments to marketing materials that would emphasize her involvement. Whether you see this as an actress taking ownership of her role or an overreach depends on whose account you believe. But it's rarely a good sign when set disputes spill out into the rumor mill. Before the media could paint Blake as a difficult actress, she seemingly flipped the script. Whispers surfaced that Baldoni was feeding tabloids lines about her controlling behavior. Fans rallied behind Blake, citing Hollywood's long-standing tendency to label outspoken women as hard to work with. Sympathy for Blake seemed at an all-time high, until text messages leaked that suggested she was no innocent victim.
What Ryan Reynolds, has seemingly done, right, is used his power and influence to not only help Blake Lively take over this movie, but, he's used it, on Deadpool and to make fun of Justin Baldoni.
Within these messages, Blake allegedly referred to her behind-the-scenes allies as head dragons, including Ryan Reynolds, whose influence in Hollywood loomed large. Suddenly, the storyline changed. Was Blake a savvy operator pulling strings from behind the curtain? Or was she defending herself against a director she believed was hogging creative credit? The truth remains murky, but one detail is certain: the dragon's phrase opened a floodgate of speculation. It implied that Blake could summon formidable industry power if she felt threatened, and prime among those resources was her husband's clout. As soon as Marvel heard about the rumored leaks tying Blake's dragons to Ryan's influence, alarm bells went off. If Ryan's own wife was coordinating industry narratives, who's to say Ryan wasn't doing the same within Marvel? The rumor mill shifted focus toward Deadpool 3, a production already known for pushing comedic boundaries. Word had it the script contained multiple jokes aimed at a Hollywood personality suspiciously resembling Justin Baldoni, someone who was both actor and director of a film, believed to be unfit or overly ambitious for the dual role. Ordinarily, poking fun at other celebrities is par for the course in a Deadpool movie. The franchise thrives on meta jokes, cameo roasts, and satirical jabs at pop culture. But Marvel is especially protective of its reputation and relationships. If these jokes were fueled by personal vendettas from Ryan, that was a serious problem. Insiders claimed that certain lines crossed into delicate territory, painting an unflattering image of a self-righteous director who forces himself into the lead role, or mocking someone who's good at tearjerker films but can't handle real comedic chops. The clues, fans said, pointed squarely at Baldoni. The immediate concern for Marvel was, what if Baldoni took legal action for defamation or demanded changes? Even if the references were veiled, you can't just bury personal vendettas in a multi-million-dollar project without consequences, especially if the target is in a position to prove damages. Moreover, Marvel feared the possibility of a PR scandal overshadowing the film's release. If the audience started seeing Deadpool 3 as Ryan's petty attempt to ridicule his wife's colleague, it could sour the fan base and shift the focus from the movie's comedic charm to real-world drama. Executives reportedly demanded script rewrites, asking Ryan to tone down or remove any lines directly referencing Baldoni. They wanted to avoid a fiasco that overshadowed the bigger Marvel Universe story arcs. At that juncture, Ryan found himself in a tight spot. The comedic foundation of the Deadpool franchise hinges on edgy humor that spares no one, including real-world figures. But if those jokes were too pointed, Marvel wasn't willing to take the risk. Sources suggested Ryan fought hard to keep the jokes, or at least certain versions of them, citing creative freedom that had been promised to him when he first signed on.
There's no question it relates to Justin. I mean, anybody that can watch that, the hair bun, the comment about the pregnancy. I mean, it's pretty obvious what's being done. But again, like if somebody is seriously sexually harassed, you don't make fun of it. It's a serious.
That's when the seeds of a potential legal face-off truly began to bloom. In an industry where optics mean everything, Marvel filing a lawsuit against Ryan Reynolds would be akin to a palace coup. It's almost unheard of for a major studio to turn legal fire on its own leading man, especially one who almost single-handedly launched a multi-billion-dollar R-rated sub-franchise under their banner. Yet, rumors of Marvel's legal sabers rattling grew louder. The reason? Brand protection and breach of contractual agreements. From Marvel's perspective, Ryan was effectively using a Marvel production to wage a personal battle, which allegedly breached certain moral clauses or guidelines in his contract. These clauses often exist to protect the studio from negative publicity and brand damage. If an actor's personal actions significantly risk tarnishing a film's reputation or incite potential legal troubles, studios may have grounds to take legal action. According to some inside chatter, top Marvel executives convened a series of high-level meetings, discussing the possibility of shutting down production temporarily or forcing major reshoots to strip out references to Baldoni. The cost implications alone would be astronomical. But the bigger fear was that if Marvel did nothing, they would appear to condone one star's personal vendetta. Such an image could harm Marvel's carefully curated brand identity of being a cohesive cinematic family. Moreover, there was the question of setting a precedent. If Ryan's rumored personal jabs remained in the final cut, other stars might feel emboldened to slip their grievances into scripts under the guise of comedic banter. Marvel's success depends on teamwork across overlapping storylines and dozens of major actors. A meltdown where each leading star wields their cameo or comedic lines to settle personal feuds could destroy the unified vision that the MCU relies upon. So, while the rumor of a Marvel lawsuit sounded extreme, the logic was clear: to show the world, and any rebellious stars, that the studio is still in charge. When the leaked texts revealing Blake's references to her allies as dragons hit the public eye, it created a dilemma for her once spotless image. Historically, Blake Lively has been recognized as a trendsetter and a social media darling. She's the glamorous face of various fashion brands, known for meticulously styled red carpet appearances. Even her Instagram banter with Ryan had become a sort of comedic sideshow that fans adored. But these revelations introduced a new perspective.
Relationship with my father, which was very complicated and difficult. My dad was a very, I come from a middle class, kind of blue-collar home, and my dad was just of that generation, where it's just like, he was Clint Eastwood, and less is more. Simple grunts is how he communicated.
Okay, gotcha.
I think people tell themselves stories, and this sort of comes back to your worldview that you just mentioned.
A woman who might be orchestrating narratives to maintain control and power. For some fans, the texts merely showcase that Blake is a strategic player who learned how the Hollywood game is played. If her director was minimizing her influence or even planting negative stories, then it's logical that she'd want to defend herself, and who wouldn't enlist powerful friends and spouse if the stakes felt high. But others read it differently. The word dragons sounded ominous, as though Blake was militarizing her personal connections to undermine Baldoni's role and reframe the media coverage in her favor. The contrast between her wholesome public persona and these alleged behind-the-scenes maneuvers led some to call her manipulative. This wasn't just about one movie or one scandal. Blake has methodically cultivated her brand for over a decade, first capturing hearts on Gossip Girl, then transitioning into film roles that showcased her range. She strategically avoided messy feuds or tabloid spats, standing apart from some of her more headline-hungry peers. Suddenly, that carefully protected brand was under assault. Media outlets debated whether she was another example of a high-profile actress labeled difficult for daring to stand up for herself, or if the difficult actress label was, in fact, accurate, justified by the manipulative behavior glimpsed in her messages. Either way, public debates on social media got heated. Some fans recalled earlier rumors of tension on sets, pointing out that Blake might have a longer track record of clashing with directors than she let on. Others pointed to the systemic challenges women face in Hollywood, rallying around her as a powerful example of someone who refuses to get sidelined. Regardless, the lines were drawn, and the controversy placed even more scrutiny on Ryan's involvement. If Blake was marshalling her connections as a defense mechanism, how far would Ryan go to protect her, or to strike back at those she felt were undermining her? So, is Ryan Reynolds truly orchestrating a vendetta against Justin Baldoni through Deadpool 3, or has Marvel overreacted to standard Deadpool brand humor? Is Blake Lively an unfairly maligned actress defending her creative vision, or a strategic powerhouse using her husband's clout to stay on top? The truth likely lies somewhere in the messy middle, with each player justifying their actions in a high-stakes environment where image and power mean everything. What's undeniable is that Hollywood, and the fans, are riveted. With each new piece of information, the online debate flares up again. Some want Ryan and Blake to emerge stronger, toppling what they view as an overly controlling studio system.
Honestly, the way that I get into a character is through their style. So it was more about who Lily is that was so fascinating to me, is that she's a walking, talking contradiction, yet it's perfectly harmonious for her.
Others side with Marvel, insisting that no single actor or couple should be bigger than the franchise. And then there are the rest, simply enthralled by the drama, waiting to see if this story ends with an explosive trial or a quiet behind-the-scenes settlement. For Ryan, silence might be golden if it helps him keep Deadpool. For Blake, the challenge is to navigate this situation without further tarnishing her carefully crafted public image. And for Justin Baldoni, the newly minted leading man director caught in the crossfire, his reputation could be shaped by how he responds to this adversity. Does he engage, or does he keep his head down and let Marvel's machinery handle the blowback? In an industry built on illusions and star power, the stakes couldn't be higher. Will Deadpool 3 still land with the same comedic punch if it's forced to strip away any jokes targeting Baldoni? Will fans accept a new face behind the mask if Marvel takes the nuclear option and cuts ties with Ryan? And will Blake Lively bounce back from the drama to solidify her status as a major Hollywood player, or will the rumor mill leave a lasting stain? Only time, and possibly the courts, will tell. Meanwhile, we're left to speculate about the ultimate fate of Ryan's reign as Marvel's wisecracking anti-hero. So what do you think? Has the couple's power play finally caught up with them, or are they just easy targets in a system that loves to tear down the very stars it once celebrated? Leave your thoughts in the comments, and be sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. This rollercoaster ride is far from over, and you won't want to miss the next jaw-dropping development as the Deadpool saga, the Lively-Baldoni feud, and Marvel's power moves collide in the most unexpected ways.